matches here. Now we're getting into the bans. Fizz, Jackson, Warwick. They're already through bans. Jesus Christ.
Well, these guys have actually seen them play each other twice in 2 other tournaments in the last week. So they've probably got this down to a science now, like who we don't want to see.
Exactly. And it looks like CLG.Eu doesn't want to see Fizz, doesn't want to see Jax, and definitely doesn't want to see Warwick. Now, for people wondering, we're not going to have directed camera because this is EU West and the patch hasn't quite come out yet. So Warwick hasn't been nerfed yet. He's still dealing 20% of health with his Hungering Strike. In the new patch, he only deals 16%, which is a nice little nerf there. So Warwick is still as strong as ever here on this EU West realm right now. Looks like Teamless is banning out Anivia, Urgot, Soraka. They know Froggen loves Anivia, so they're definitely not giving him to... they're not going to let him play his favorite bird of all time. Urgot being banned there, and Soraka as well. Still a wicked support that you just don't want to go against. The Fizz is like kind of weird. I didn't know. Is that a big EU West player here?
I haven't seen it in any of the EU games we've done so far, but some of these can be really targeted. We had bans all the time that are against a specific player. So it could just be somebody on Teamless plays Fizz incredibly well, or Fizz is a great counter to the strategy that CLG wants to build here.
Fizz would be really good against Mundo and Vlad, so maybe that is something like Fizz hard counters Vlad because he can apply Grievous Wounds so easily with his dash in and his Urchin Strike. So I mean, it's a good ban. I don't see him a lot in NA, but hey, this is a whole different realm and a whole different ball game over here. Scumbag Crepo is picking up Janna as the first pick for CLG.EU. Very strong support and doing the timeless thing of picking a support first pick, so they can't really be counterpicked. Very hard to counterpick a support, so they're not showing their cards just yet.
Well,
on the other hand,
you got Janna, who's just so popular right now. Like, it's a legitimate, powerful first pick to go with Janna at this point. The shield and AD boost is just incredible, especially if you're going to go for that really aggressive bottom lane. But in North America right now, if these were the picks so far, I mean, giving Mundo and Vlad to a team, that would be considered. One of those two would be banned. Like, yeah. It's crazy to see some of the... I'm really excited, really, for San Francisco when we have 2 teams from each realm playing each other, and we get to see these metas combined. Because playing on North America, like, I see champions that don't get banned over, and like, I can't believe they didn't ban, whoever. And then we had some of the guys from Absolute Legends watching the North American games yesterday, and they were like, I can't believe you guys aren't banning, I think it was Soraka or something like that. And Soraka's banned every game, so I can't wait to see these metas combine and see who kind of is going to be able to adapt to the other strategies the best.
Yeah, and that's going to be the winner of the tournament, if you ask me. The people who can adapt, who can ban, who can play different play styles and play against different team comps, because just like you said, NA has completely different team comps than EU. And people are saying in the chat that apparently Tabs is a very good Fizz player, so that was definitely a directed ban. So thank you for filling me in, all you EU players, because I am kind of out of the loop when it comes to EU, but we'll be here all day, essentially. Or at least for these matches. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think we only have one set today, but come up these next few weekends, we will have a lot.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now, picking up from Teamless, they got Mundo and Vlad, like you said, 2 very strong players, especially on the NA realm. I'm sure they are equally as strong here on the EU. A lot of healing, a lot of survivability there. And speaking of just general overall tankiness, also picking up Ryze. Ryze is a very strong, I don't want to call him an AP mid because he's really just a magical mid. Maybe the patch will change things. They're giving him some more AP ratios, taking away some of his mana ratios. But as of now, with this patch here right now, he is still the old Ryze that we've come to know, love, and hate a little bit. He's one of those champions that, really the only champion that builds super defensively with like a Banshee's Veil, Frozen Heart, Tear of the Goddess that he never really turns into anything, and he just does exponential amounts of damage throughout the entire game. And he's got a click, he's got a very hard snare, and he just puts out tons and tons of damage. Also, Graves being picked up from Teamless. I keep wanting to say Western Wolves because I see their tags, but I have to like make Teamless in my head be the right name. Now, on CLG's side, their AD carry looks like it's going to be Kog'Maw. Very strong AD carry that's going to do very well against this tanky team of Ryze, Vladimir, and Mundo, because he is going to be hitting with a percentage-based max health damage with his Bio Arcane Barrage. So a great Kog'Maw pickup after he saw the Vladimir and Mundo pickup. And just to round out the team, people were calling it in chat, Wicked's going to be picking up Renekton up top. It looks like Maokai is going to be in the jungle with his friends, and Orianna is going to be played by Froggen in mid.
Yeah, I'm really like this. Orianna is not someone I would say we've never seen in North America, but we actually saw it from Orbit Gaming last night in the Cybersports Network finals. So we did see, I believe it was Link over at Orbit playing some Orianna and doing very well with her. So be interested to see how that goes. Froggen is an incredible AP player, so I'm really excited for this matchup. Renekton top is always interesting to watch. What I love about it is we actually had the audacity, Elements and I, to question the pick of Renekton with Young Buck playing it for Absolute Legends.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not something we see often over in North America, and we were quickly proven wrong. Renekton is an incredible top lane, and Wicked seems to have been playing him a lot as well. So I'm excited to see how this goes against a Vladimir. We saw it against Kennen a couple of times yesterday, and we saw it against... I think who was the other top lane? It was Olaf, and I believe it did incredibly well both times when Young Buck was on it. So I'm really excited. I love kind of learning new things when we come over to EU, like champions that aren't played as much, and try to take it back to our solo queue and lose less.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see all of this.
Yeah, Renekton's one of those top lanes that snowballs very, very hard early lane. He's early game. He's a very, very good duelist. So top lane, you put him against another bruiser, which it doesn't look like he's going to get that chance, really. He's probably gonna either Rise or Vlad top. I would assume he's probably going against Vlad top. However, Rise counters bruisers very, very hard with his click stun, his click snare, his rune prison. He's able to really kite bruisers. So they may make a little switch there. They may put Rise up top. Vlad could go mid. But, it's either way works at this point in time. But if Renekton doesn't get those early kills and that early snowball, then he's just not quite able to do as much damage as he wants to late game. He kind of makes a transition into a more super tanky bruiser because he's got a lot of sustain from his Call of the Meek. His ultimate gives him a lot of bonus health, and it starts draining a percentage base of enemies' health around him. So his damage falls off a little bit, but if he's able to use his early game fantastic damage to get the tankiness that he needs late game, then he's definitely a force to be reckoned with. So I'm excited to see this. So going through the teams one more time while we wait for this 2-minute delay to come down, we're going to have CLG.Eu is going to have Janna and Kog'Maw bottom lane, Maokai in the jungle, Renekton up top, and Froggen on Orianna in mid. While Teamless is, I'm still making the tag confusion in my head. While Teamless is going to have Mundo in the jungle, Vladimir potentially top, Rise mid, Graves and Tarek bottom. How do you think? Do you think they're going to do Rise mid, Vlad top, or do you think they're going to put the Bruiser against Rise?
I would imagine Vlad top just for the escape. You don't want to up in top lane. Rise is going to have way too much trouble with ganks from Snoopy. It's just not a good mix. Whereas he may have better luck against Renekton. Vlad has the pool, a little bit better escapability. Mid lane Rise will be a lot safer. It's just less opportunity to gank, a little bit less area to come out of unseen. So that's the big reason we've seen less of these standard mid APs going top. We used to see Cassiopeia, Brand go top all the time back this time last year, and we're not going to see that anymore because of the escapes. The new junglers have way too much CC for you to have a champion alone in top lane who doesn't have a very good escape or some type of steroid, something to keep them alive basically as they're running back to their tower.
Yeah, speaking of the CC from the junglers, you're going to have copious amounts of CC coming from there. Maokai's got his Twisted Advance, he's got his small little knock-up, the Arcane Smash, I believe it is. He's one of those junglers that when you come out of the jungle for level 4, you should be scared. It's not a guaranteed kill, but it's almost a guaranteed you're going to burn Flash to get out of the way, especially when he's coming in on Rise. Rise is going to be able to rune prison, but that Twisted Advance allows him to make up so much ground if he holds on to it. If he comes in for the gank and Rise preemptively rune prisons him, as soon as that rune prison is out, Snoopy's going to be able to Twisted Advance towards Rise and lock him down in that new position. So regardless of the CC that Rise has, Maokai is still a super, super scary jungler. As far as Mundo's concerned, he's got the easily spammable Infected Cleaver that's going to deal a percentage base of your max health, It's going to slow you every time he hits you with it. And then Mundo, the most popular thing that they do lately is take exhaust, just to give them that little extra bit of CC. Also with masteries, it's going to allow them to decrease your armor magic resist, to allow his AD carry, his AP mid, his person up top, to deal just a little bit more damage. Because the difference between an improved exhaust and a regular exhaust could mean the difference between a first blood and someone getting away. It's a very, very important thing right there.
I knew that was going to bug on me. All right, I'm going to fix this and run a commercial, and we'll be into game 1 here.
Yeah, I hate that bug. That bug's happened to me a few times. It's not fun.
It's not the end of the world. You just re-maximize, but it's annoying.
There you go. So skins. Everyone has a skin. There's no. Oh no, Mundo doesn't have a skin. So clearly the advantage is for CLG.EU. So there you go. As someone's asking right now, Alwani is asking, who do we think has the stronger team comp overall? I want to say, I think Teamless has a better late game team comp.
They have a really tanky late game team comp. The only thing I really like that CLG.EU is this is an incredible protect the Kog'Maw comp, because they've altered it a little bit with Orianna, who has incredible CC.
There's a little
but
bit of
good
damage
damage too.
Early, but I don't think anything's going to come of it. They're just kind of. This looks like an ARAM right now. I think they switched. This tournament is now an ARAM tournament. There you go. They're kind of just dancing around each other's jungles, starting builds. It looks like Maokai's going Regrowth Pendant with a health potion. He's going to use that to turn into an early Philo Stone. Maokai really, really does well with just a little bit of sustain in the jungle. His passive heals for a percentage base of his health, 7% of his health rather, every time 5 spells are cast around him. And that gives him really good sustain in the jungle once he gets that blue buff. And that Regrowth Pendant is just the icing on the cake, really. So it looks like Snoopy they're both going to kind of... I don't know the word I'm looking for. They're both going to separate, and they're going to go into their own jungles. They're not really going to have a little level 1 fight other than that mini ARAM we just saw. Snoopy's sapperling up. Sapperlining? Using his sapperlings on the race before they spawn, so he's going to be able to knock all those out very quickly and then transition over to blue buff for himself. Ping's going out from... there's 2 wards here, actually. So Ping's going out from CLG. They know Mundo's starting with his Wraiths, but that's really as expected. Mundo uses his Burning Agony to AoE down those Wraiths very quickly. He's transitioning on to the red buff. It looks like he is potentially going to be looking for an early gank up top, maybe. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and that's one of the strengths of Mundo, is how quickly he can go through these first few mobs with Burning Agony. If you do it right, you don't even lose too much health, so it does give a very powerful initial top gank, but neither top player has made it up there. It's going to be a little bit difficult to position for a gank. But we also don't see either jungler heading towards bottom, so we may not see as much of that early game ganking here.
Well, Wicked actually just now taking his Cull the Meek ability. It looked like he was going to save his ability maybe to see if he needed to get Ruthless Predator to stun that Mundo flying out of the jungle at him, but it looks like he decided against it and just went ahead and got his sustain ability of Cull the Meek. Middle lane, looks like Rune is... not Rune, I just said an ability. Tabs on Rise is going to start with Boots 3 pots. It's really just one of the most... expected builds from everyone. It looks like everyone actually started with it. Wicked was waiting around for a 4th pot, actually. So Wicked has a slight advantage up there, but I think Vlad just has a tiny bit more built-in self-sustain that he isn't going to have the use for that 4th pot so much as Renekton is. But he's using his transfusion to try and just harass Wicked a little bit, actually forcing him to burn that first potion of his. While down bot, we see that both supports have warded each other's brushes, so as not to give each other the brush advantage, which is all too important, especially with a support like Taric. You need to see him at all times. His Dazzle can come out of nowhere and really sign the death warrant of one of these AD carries down here, especially a squishy one like Kog'Maw. But Janna doing an effective job of shielding and keeping her AD carry as high health as possible in this early game, where Kog'Maw, I think, does have a slight disadvantage as far as burst is concerned.
Yeah, I've been excited to see this bottom lane. Like Graves, I've heard is not played as much here in EU, but I really like the fact that he has incredible burst damage, especially against Kog'Maw. Now, the tankiness is kind of countered by the fact that Kog'Maw can pretty much hit you from anywhere. There's just no safe place. But I really, really have enjoyed kind of watching some of the games yesterday where basically Graves would come out, combo with his ult,
Wait,
and
there's
just
the
drop
gank coming out
someone.
in mid lane. Rune Prison comes on Frog, and he's forced to burn his flash. Maokai kind of makes a mistake of getting in there. He's forced to burn flash there as well. So you had a summoner spell from Mundo of Exhaust coming out. Rise still holding on to both his summoners, so he definitely has an advantage here in this lane right now. That was a close call right there. I don't think Maokai should have necessarily Twisted Advanced in there because he had to burn a flash for it. It's not the smartest move, but he wanted to go for something. First blood, he smelled it and he wanted it, but he couldn't quite secure it.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. When you get ganked like that or on a counter gank, you really get like bloodlust right there going for that first blood. It's just, it really is. Even though in the end it doesn't really matter a ton, getting first blood is just a confidence boost for your team. It's only 100 more gold than what you would normally get, but it's just a confidence boost.
Yeah, it's really the case of it is I'm pretty sure there's some statistic that I've seen before that says when you get first blood, you have like a 60 to 70% chance to win that game that you got first blood in, as opposed to giving out first blood. It's all about morale. It's all about, hell yeah, we got first blood. We can do this. We've got an advantage. And a lot of people, once they get first blood, if it's a good AP mid or a good AD carry, they will go back and they will actually buy as soon as they can. Because the earlier you buy with that first blood money, with the 400 extra gold you have in excess, the harder you can snowball and the harder you can build an advantage in that lane. So no first blood's been given out yet. It looks like CLG doing a better job overall of farming. Mundo up here looks like he's looking for a gank, but Maokai's going to find him in this brush. Let's see what happens in this 2-on-2 situation. Mundo pops his Burning Agony. Wicked gets a great stun off of Anguish. It's going to be ignited, having to pull. Doesn't look like either of them are going to go down here. Just a little bit of trade there. Now Maokai, again, like we said, burned his flash in mid, so he's not going to be able to use it. Wicked still has his flash, and Vladimir holding on to his heal now. So now that Wicked doesn't have his ignite, he's got no way of applying Grievous Wound to Vlad. So I don't think there's going to be any way he can necessarily burn Vlad down at this point until his ignite comes back up. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and really good awareness there from Snoopé on Maokai to go through and get that Twisted Advance onto Vlad instead of staying and pulling the fight down into the bush here. They'd have had a lot more trouble, and since they did end up having to run away, we might have seen Wicked drop there if they'd had to go farther in for that fight.
And Froggen just being a bully. They have the ward here on Mundo's race, and Froggen knew that, so he command attacked and dissonanced all the race away from Mundo, so Mundo got nothing there. Just great play, just keeping that jungler at bay and just, padding his CS at the same time. As far as farm is concerned, it looks like Kog'Maw is resting at a good 37 CS. Maokai may be coming in behind to Rise here. There's a Rune Prison and the ultimate. There's the Twisted Advance and the knockup. That's going to be first blood for Orianna, but she does go down herself. So it was a nice gank, counter gank. It's textbook stuff right there. Both junglers living and both AP mids biting the dust.
Yeah, so a little bit of an advantage there for CLG since they were able to get the first blood, get the kill a little bit ahead. But both mids going down. Good reactions there from Mundo to get in and make sure they secured the kill.
Yes, and let's see, up top, Vladimir looks like he's farming quite effectively, as you expect from Vladimir. He's got good wave clear with his Tides of Blood, and he can transfuse anything that he may very well miss. So he's able to secure CS extremely easily while sustaining himself. That's the scariest thing about him. It doesn't cost any mana, it doesn't cost really anything. Tides of Blood costs a little bit of health, but once you get your Hex Tech, 4 stacks, and a potion here or there, you're really not going to be hurting for health at all. The Hemo play comes out onto Wicked. I don't think Anguish is going to be able to follow up on this. No, it's just putting out a little damage on Wicked, but Wicked's going to be able to just call the meek and chug a few pots to get back to full health. He did go back and pick up a Hexdrinker though, so he's definitely building purely up here to counter this Vlad matchup here and to mitigate some of Rise's damage as the game continues on. So he's probably going to build that, I would assume, into a Maul of Malmortis. It's been a strong item for a lot of bruisers up top lane. Kind of just increases your attack damage as your health falls low. And bruisers, since they know and are expecting to take a lot of damage, why the heck not increase your attack damage all while you're tanking all that? So it's just it's a nice little Word that I could potentially find. If,
I'm sure you'll come up with it eventually. We'll give you some time.
Hold on. Just hold on.
All right, well, while you're thinking of that, we've had some interesting trades at mid. Not a whole ton of damage going out, but they were able to get some damage onto Rise and onto Maokai, but nothing big. Bottom, the trades have been going back and forth pretty even. They both have each other's brush warded, so they know where that enemy support is. Probably more important on Tarek than on Janna. You really want to know if that Dazzle's going to come out and stun you, but nothing serious. Mostly, they're just farming. And that's going to be their goal kind of throughout this match. Both of these APs, good lord, ADs really want to farm up and become a factor that way. Looks like we might have a gank here mid. Mundo's going to back off. Just didn't have the positioning right there.
And right now, it looks like Teamless does have a slight ward advantage. Actually, their ward just died in that bot brush. So they have 2 wards on the map as opposed to CLG's 1 ward. So they're doing a slightly better job warding. Wicked, when he went back for that first time, he picked up a Hex Drinker and no wards. But he did go back in the meantime and pick up a ward. So he's going to be able to ward for himself and watch out for that extremely strong Mundo ganks with his cleavers. And now he's sporting a red buff. Orianna well aware of that Mundo moving to his jungle now. Let's see if there's a little engage right here. She's going to watch him take she's probably going to do the same thing and just steal the race. Yep, she does. She gets, I think, 3 of the 4 raids. I don't think she got the big one. But Orianna just has so much AoE, she's just able to do that. We saw it early game where she just stole his race straight out from under his big infected nose.
And again, still kind of passive farming. Now, we've seen junglers coming in for ganks, but we've had really good awareness by both mids not getting caught.
Yeah.
And
This is a battle of the beasts. You know, Tabs is a fantastic AP mid player, and Froggen is something of legend that I know many people know. He's basically like a household name in the League of Legends community. People know who Froggen is. People know who a lot of these CLG.EU players are. And the kind of amalgamation of Western Wolves and Absolute Legends here, this Teamless team, is trying to make a name for themselves, trying to show them what they're made of here in this tournament. The seeding did work where, you know, higher seeds get placed with lower seeds, stuff like that. So this is, I think, this is seed 2. I'm pretty sure you said CLG.EU was their second seed. Seed 3. So they're going against the 14th seeded team, essentially, in this first round, which is this Teamless team right here. So you see mostly upsets in the first round, you know, or you want to see mostly upsets. Sometimes you see stomps, you see higher seeds getting stomping lower seeds, but this is where you make a name for yourself. You know, if you come out as a small team and you beat a team like CLG.EU, you've now secured a place for yourself in the tournament and also in the esports community.
yeah, and we see, you know, sometimes teams do come through things like that. We had that with Mono at IPL coming through and winning a lot of matches. People hadn't really heard of them before that. We'd love to see that here, but so far it's been pretty much the higher seeds have won.
And there's the flash going on, the twisted advance. Orianna's going to ult onto this Rise. He's falling dangerously low. He will go down. A great shield onto the Maokai will keep him alive. Mundo came in, but just a tad late, blowing his ultimate to get that move speed buff, but he's not quite able to get there in time. It looks like CLG may sign up for a dragon here. No, it looks like they're just going to pink ward it and make sure that Teamless does not have any vision on it, which they do not at this point in time. And there was action top, but we didn't. No one died, so we're okay. Vladimir fell very low and was forced to burn his heal, but that's okay. Renekton up top, farming to his heart's content. He's got 107 CS to Vladimir's 101. So he's using the AoE of his Call the Meek to his advantage right now and just clearing those caster minions in one fell swoop. He does have the makings, like I said, of the Maul of Malamortis, and he will be purchasing that, I'm sure, soon enough. I don't quite know what the combined cost of it is. I think it's about 800 to 900. He's got about 500 gold on him right now. So I'm sure he'll go back in a few hundred gold and pick that up when he can. Sacrificing in move speed a little bit to keep those level 1 boots. Wicked actually gonna go on this Vladimir. There's a stun. He's gonna slice and dice all around him. The Call to Meat comes out, but he deals about half damage to Angus, who's just gonna really sustain that up. He does have his Will of the Ancients and Ninja Tabby for good measure against this this hard AD bruiser Renekton up here.
Yeah, and already back to full health.
Yeah, Vladimir is a champion that once he hits level 9, so hard to deal with. And Wicked, I just don't think he didn't secure any real early kills. He's still 0-0-0. There's the action. The Hemo Plague is going to go down, but it looks like Anguish is going to not tower dive Wicked right there. Gets Wicked very low, going to force him to go back, and this is where Anguish wants to push, but it looks like Oriana's going to come up here to counter push this with her great AoE here. Bot lane looks like it may see some action. Rise and Mundo moving into position for a dragon, potentially. They don't know it's pink warded by CLG, so CLG is very aware of this. Oriana's way up top. Wicked's going to try to make his way to it, but I think it may be in vain. I don't know if they're going to quite make it in time. Mundo does have his ultimate up, so if he wants to blow it, there's the Rune Prison onto the Kog'Maw, but a great de-initiation from Janna pushes Rise and Graves out of the way, and this looks like it may be a dragon for Teamless. They're gonna pull off, actually. They're not, this is not something they want to fight, apparently. It would be a 4-4 situation. Kog is very low. Wicked taking a ton of damage, blowing his ultimate, and gonna take down that turret. No, a great flash. The Twisted Advance does pick up the kill. Graves may go down here as well, but he's gonna take Kog'Maw with him. No, Graves flashes over the wall, and Kog'Maw goes down. Double kill from Graves onto the Janna and Kog. Snoopy is gonna have to walk away from this, so just not the greatest fight or positioning for CLG right there. They went to counter that dragon as hard as they could, but they paid for it. They lost 3 for 1 in that exchange.
And Snoopy's in trouble here. Oh, and he's going to go down.
Yeah.
And trying to get the suicide there, but he couldn't quite get it. Good job by Graves getting in there and securing.
You can't really get away from a quick drawing Graves. That's getting right on your ass, you know. So it looks like Teamless is going to fully commit to this dragon this time.
Well, there's nothing to stop them.
Oh, no, exactly. They're going to pick it up at the 15:45 mark. Yes, there we go. So it'll be up at 21:45. We'll see the next dragon fight. But in the meantime, I'm sure we'll see wards and whatnot from this Janna, of which she has 2. She's got 2 gold per 10 items right now. She's helping her little economic value at this point in time, and everyone just passively going back to farming. Oriana has switched to top lane, so it looks like Rise and Renekton are going to be dueling out in this mid. Wicked making the decision of saying, I just couldn't quite handle the Vladimir, his AoE and his poke, which is a little bit too strong, so let's send our fantastic poke of Oriana up there. There's the ultimate onto Vladimir. He is ignited. Will he go down here? I don't quite know. They're both super, super low. Vladimir forcing to burn his heal right after the ignite ended, so he did get the full effect of it, but they're both just going to back off and be fine. They're both so low. That was a scary, scary fight for both of them.
Yeah, it looks like this is a permanent lane swap here. We're seeing Renekton go mid now. I'll be interested to see how Oriana's able to do against Vladimir. Obviously that exchange went very well, but with this minion wave here, Vlad should be able to get most of his health back.
Yeah, Oriana holding on to her flash, though. She still has it, while this Vladimir has no summoner spell, so I don't know if she'll take advantage of that somehow. She does have a super long-range poke. I think a patch or 2 ago, they did nerf her range, so she doesn't quite have the range that she's used to, maybe. But I think Froggen's a good enough player to know her limits and know when he can go in and when he can't.
Yeah, and the problem there, had mana, it must have just been that everything was on cooldown, because I thought Vlad was going to go down there with the amount of mana that Oriana had left.
Yeah, he healed at the perfect time. He got ignited early on in the fight, and Oriana did that to counter the heal. You know, it applies a grievous wound, so his heal wouldn't be as effective, and his crazy sustain wouldn't be as effective either. But he so intelligently waited for the ignite to, like, the second it wore off, he healed, and that gave him the full effect, and that changed the fight. Neither of them died, but he would have died had he used that ignite, or that heal on himself earlier in the fight.
Looks like we've got Mundo setting up for a gank, but gonna run into Maokai. They burst all the damage out, but that is a ton of damage from Graves there, and here comes Mundo. I don't know if they're going to be able to get out of the fight. Nope, 2 going down, and it looks like Snoopy's not going to be able to... Oh, wait, chasing on here. Great job by Kog'Maw to get that damage out, but not enough to kill. That was unfortunate there.
2-for-nothing exchange right there. Teamless getting the better of CLG underneath their own turret. That Mundo ultimate is just so great. It just regenerates, I think, 70% of his health at the cost of 20% of his health. It's 55% at rank 2 at the cost of 20% of his current health. So he was just able to tank that turret for all day down there. He was just saying, I can dance all day, I can dance all day. And they picked up 2 kills for it.
Yeah, it really did not work out well there. And it seemed like I was almost sure that when Kog'Maw was able to get in and get his passive explosion off and take everybody that low, that Snoopé might get somebody. But Maokai's damage really is not great until he builds into a really late game. So probably smarter there to go ahead and leave. But yeah, an unfortunate exchange at bottom. And that initial damage burst before Mundo came in was great. I mean, Mundo came into enemies all at half health or below.
Yeah, and if there had been a fantastic Twisted Advance and Arcane Smash there, he could have potentially picked up a double kill on the Taric and Mundo, but he decided to kind of back off a little bit. Graves did have red buff at the time, so he probably would have been able to kite Maokai and not allow him to catch up to his two teammates. So it was just something he didn't want to do. He did try to flash for it, so his flash is going to be down for a little bit, and that's something that I'm sure Teamless will take advantage of.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to go in here after CLG's blue.
Yeah, and they're definitely gonna potentially secure it. It's 3-on-2 right now. Renekton, our Maokai, actually going back and leaving it for them. So he just gave up on that. They think they're a little bit too far behind. They're about 3k gold behind and 4 kills. Mundo popping his ult to go on to Wicked here. He turns on his Burning Agony and gets the exhaust off. They're gonna be able to take Wicked down here at the cost of nothing. Again, Mundo just doing such a great job of taking those towers with his ultimate. It's a really, really disgusting thing to see. But hey, Mundo goes where Mundo pleases.
Yeah, I mean, that's Mundo is just such a powerful jungler right now. That ultimate, it really gives him an ability to tank tower hits earlier than any other jungler. And they're using it to full advantage here. I mean, we're only looking at people around level 12.
And Knight goes on a Vladimir up top. The Orianna is trying to fight him in a one-on-one situation. He's forced to burn his Sanguine Pool, but the command attack takes him out right as he comes back from pool form, from liquid form. He goes from liquid to solid and dies.
Yeah, very good job there by Frogan. Staying on top of Vlad as he's getting away and waiting for the perfect time. That command attack literally hit as the pool ended. Very, very well timed.
Let's see how, as far as builds are concerned, it looks like Kog'Maw has decided to go the Wriggle Zeal build, which you see a lot in the EU West scene, or in the EU scene in general, really. You don't see it a lot in NA. A lot of people just kind of rush Bloodthirster or rush Infinity Edge. But it seems to be popular, and I've seen it work a lot of times, so I can definitely give it credit there. But it looks like Graves has gone the Infinity Edge and the Bloodthirster build with a Doran's Blade and a dagger that he's going to let me find my words real fast. He's going to eventually build into that Zeal and that eventual Phantom Dancer. The difference there being Kog'Maw's a little bit behind. He's 0-2-1. He's down about 20 or so CS. The Wriggles and Zeal really helped him try to catch up and try to make up some ground. It gives great lifesteal, great armor. Graves, on the other hand, 4-0-2, doing a fantastic job of CSing. And Graves has that built-in True Grit, which gives him the armor and the magic resist that he needs to effectively go toe-to-toe with this Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw's got great percentage-based sustained damage, so it's not... He doesn't really need the Wriggles. He doesn't really need to rush the Zeals first. He's got amazing burst, amazing armor, magic resist, amazing steroids, and just a great AD carry overall. Some might say OP.
And it looks like they'll take a dragon here, but they do trade mid-turret for it. And there wasn't a whole lot of health left on mid-turret, so I don't think that was a bad trade. The problem is they're going to push onto the second turret here, and if they can't get there and defend this, that will make it completely not worth going in there.
So trade for Dragon for a tower. Actually, it looks like they're going to trade for 2 towers here. They're just kind of tanking this tower up top with that nice creep wave, and they're going to take it out. So tier 2 towers down up top for CLG. Now it looks like they're transitioning to mid tower. So Graves is already going ahead to siege that tower. They're going to definitely take that tower down as well. And they have... Okay, Teamless has great map control right now. You see they have a line of wards going to Baron. So they could potentially Baron at any time with full vision. They know Kog'Maw is bottom right now. He's got no way of getting to Baron soon. He's even out of mana, just for good measure. So it looks like this is where Teamless is going to transition to this Baron fight right now.
Yeah,
He's got the advantage of gold, kills, sustain. Let's just see what happens here.
It doesn't look like CLG is even heading in there to go after it.
Yeah, they're transitioning right now. Maokai, that's going to be a little bit too late. He warded just a second too late, and he may be trapped in this jungle. No, Teamless is just going to all be right there. They're not even going to find this Maokai.
Yeah, I don't think they saw the ward go in, so they didn't know to look. And they were able to take a second turret bottom, which kind of gets closer to evening things up turret-wise, but they traded a Baron for it. That's just going to hurt.
The thing about Baron is that the opportunity cost of Baron here for Teamless was they lost a tier 2 turret. The tier 2 turret doesn't respawn, obviously. You know this. Baron will respawn in 7 minutes, giving CLG another opportunity to potentially get back in the game. Losing a tower for Baron is a trade that they're willing to take at this point in time, because they have for the next 4 minutes an advantage in life regen, mana regen, AP, AD, all that stuff that Baron Nashor gives. Once those 4 minutes are up, however, now CLG has a chance of potentially pushing bot, maybe getting an inhibitor out of it, and then once Baron respawns, then the tables are turned again. The tables are even. They can contest Baron. They may even potentially get a smite steal on Baron. One good steal on Baron can change the course of a game just drastically.
Right, well, the trade-off here is they lost that tier 2 tower, but they're going to bully CLG with Baron buff, and they're going to take more than one tier 2 tower. I mean, they've now got all of them down.
Yeah. And this is definitely one of the things you see. People complain about solo queue and all that stuff, but when you see great organized teams like Teamless and CLG.Eu here, they know the advantage that Baron gives them. They know exactly what they can do with it, and they're showing it. They're saying, look, we can siege this tower all day. We've got percentage-based health regen and mana regen. We don't really care. And we've got a Woda, and we've got Vlad, and we've got Ryze. We don't really care about anything at this point. All the while, Mundo is going to be fighting this tower. Maokai not doing much about it, not really able to, just trying to clear the creep waves, so the tower will focus Mundo that much faster. But now CLG is split a little bit right here. On the same side, Teamless is split as well, but they're just so much stronger at this point in time that they can afford to be split. CLG needs to have a together team fight underneath their own tower to really turn this around.
Yeah, and even then, with the amount of sustain that's on Teamless, they may lose a tower fight under their own towers. They need to be careful here as to how they get initiated on, because there's a really good initiate from Teamless here, especially with Graves popping everything he's got, along with Ryze. You could see 1 or 2 CLG players drop before the fight's even really started.
Yeah, and some great poke coming out from Orianna. She has that long-range command attack and distance. The stun coming from Wicked. The Hemo Plague does go down. This is where they want to fight. The Maokai ultimate is mitigating a lot of damage underneath the tower. It looks like Mundo will go down through his ultimate, but Snoopy will fall as well. And, oh my god, the Janna de-initiation saves Tarek. That was unfortunate. It was very unfortunate.
It was a good idea before the Tarek flash to push everybody back in, but then it just ended up saving Tarek.
Yeah. That's okay, though. Not really okay, because this is not good. I guess that was the wrong choice of words, but it looks like right there Teamless did take 2 for 1 in that exchange. But they also took a tower and an inhibitor, and they have Baron. Not looking too fantastic for CLG.EU at this point in time. And this is best of 3. People are asking. This is definitely best of 3. So right now, it's really just a matter of CLG.EU playing catch-up. They're 5 kills behind. They're about 8k gold behind. They're down 5 towers. They're down an inhibitor. It looks grim. It definitely does. But CLG is not a team that's just going to give up. And we've talked in the beginning of the game, right when picks happen, Kog'Maw is a great AD character. He's got a Phantom Dancer now, and his Bio-Arcane Barrage is dealing 6% of a target's maximum health every shot at a rate of... What's his attack speed right now? I can't even... 1.6. He's got 1.6 attack speed. So he's dealing a lot of damage per second. He needs Maokai to tank for him. He needs Janna to de-initiate for him. He needs Renekton to stun for him. If they can get some hard bodies in front of the enemy team and Kog'Maw, I think that's their one chance to win.
Well, and their big problem is they had what was very clearly a protect the Kog'Maw comp, and then they lost bot. And Kog'Maw got behind. Graves is actually doing significantly more damage in fights than Kog'Maw is. And since the rest of the team is kind of designed to keep people off of him, right now Pete's not able to bring enemy champions down fast enough. Now that'll change if they can just survive till we get to a later game, because Kog'Maw will scale better than Graves will once they're both full build. But right now, I still don't see him really pulling a huge advantage in team fights. It's not over, because once Kog'Maw gets full build and is doing all that damage, he can rip through the enemy team as long as they keep the enemy's damage dealers, Graves and Ryze, off of him. But they've got to get to that point, and they normally would be there at this point in time, 28 minutes into the game, but they lost bottom lane pretty hard.
They did indeed. Graves going back purchasing a Last Whisper outright. He didn't have a pickaxe or a longsword before that, but he amassed so much gold with his great 243 farm and his 5-0 score. Speaking of farm, Orianna doing a great job showing the strength of her AoE abilities to knock out just about entire creep waves with 275 farm. She has a Rod of Ages, so she's got some takiness under her belt, and a Hextech Revolver, which is unusual, I would say, for Orianna. You don't see a lot of big burst casters like Orianna building that. She usually goes for a more heavy AP route, because not only does the heavier AP route give her better burst, it also gives her better utility. Her shield becomes stronger, her AoE becomes stronger, dissonance becomes stronger, everything just becomes stronger overall. So Spell Vamp, I would say, is a slightly weird choice for me. What do you think about it?
I don't know. I mean, I like the Spell Vamp pick, especially because we're on the patch where the cost hasn't gone up, so it's still a very effective mana for gold item, especially when you're losing kind of the way they are at this point. You kind of want anything to stay alive through those initial bursts. So I understand the pick. I don't know. It seems like, especially with the lower cost, that it's just fine as both an AP item and a Spell Vamp item. It's going to kind of help. There's no real other serious AP on the team. It's going to help Kog'Maw and Maokai a little bit, but not a ton.
And Rise just showing his strength right here against the Wicked, against Kog'Maw, against everyone that wants to initiate on him. He has the Banshee's Veil and the Frozen Heart. And guess what? It gives them all damage. You know, a lot of players, a lot of champions really, Maokai and stuff, builds Frozen Heart just for your pure utility. It gets him good mana, it gives him good armor, and it slows the attack speed of surrounding enemy champions. But Rise gets that little extra added benefit of it scaling his damage as well, because it gives a hell of a lot of mana. It looks like a Baron fight could potentially be happening here. Mundo's going to come in from the back. He lands a good cleaver on a Maokai. Is he going to go full in? He does pop his ult. There's the Hemo Plague down just about the entire team. Maokai, again, doing a great job with his ultimate, mitigating a lot of damage. Wicked takes down the Mundo, and Graves able to burst down Kog'Maw so well, so this isn't going to be very good for CLG.Eu with Cog going down so early in that fight, and it looks like that's a 2-for-1 exchange. And Teamless smelling blood. They're smelling victory right now. They definitely want this. Orianna, however, still does have her ultimate. I don't know why she didn't blow it. It was a perfect choke point and a perfect place to use her ultimate, but she just held on to it for a little bit too long, if you ask me. And there she does. She does blow it into Taric. Will she take him down? It doesn't look like she might go down herself. No, the Twisted Advance and the knockup is going to stop Graves' DPS there. Will he go down? Yeah, yes, he goes down from a tower hit, and the shield does save Orianna's life. So Taric and Graves going down at the hands of Maokai, Orianna, and Janna. All the while, however, Rise and Vladimir were kind of just damaging this inhibitor up top. So it's still just not looking that great for CLG.EU. The plan of attack, like we said, is to protect the Cog, and they just didn't do it that fight.
Well, it was a beautiful fight by Teamless because they actually held Taric and Graves off in the upper brush up here, and when everyone else initiated through the side, those two came into the back and specifically burst Kog'Maw right away. That, and the thing is, when you do that with 4 champions out of your 5, the other team will see it and adjust. But since it was only 2 and the other 3 went in first, CLG thought they had the correct positioning for their bruisers, that they were between Kog'Maw and the enemy, and then it didn't matter because by the time they saw Graves, you had a stun.
We're about to see a big Baron fight here. It looks like it's going to be a 4-on-5 situation. Graves hasn't made it to the fray just yet. Wicked Maokai going down very, very low, but they're able to sustain with Maokai's passive and a nice Woda. Vladimir going to go down, but he decides to Sanguine Pool with his Hemo Plague up. He does go down to Orianna's Command Dissonance. Mundo still in this fight, still dealing as much damage as possible. Rise is going to go down as well. Maokai's passive doing so much work, healing him for 7%. And this is it. This is Kog'Maw doing work right here. That was the perfect time to engage, the perfect time to initiate a Baron fight in a 4v5 situation without Graves there. That's exactly what CLG.EU needed.
Yeah, really a good chance here. Now, we don't know if this will completely turn it around for him, but this is a huge step in the right direction.
The biggest thing they need to watch out for, I guess Graves isn't even going to try to steal this Baron at all. I feel, his collateral damage isn't even up, so he cannot even do it if he wanted to. He just doesn't have quite the burst.
Yeah, well, and the problem is the minions are pushing now. They were able to take that inhibitor single-handedly. They're going to take this second one. So CLG's going to get Baron. They're not going to be able to do anything with it. They're not going to be able to push. They're going to have to go back and defend because they're now going to have 2 inhibitors down again.
But again, it's sure, they're down an inhibitor. They're down 1 kill now. They've made up some great ground. They're down 5k gold. Now they have Baron. the Baron's going to help them in the next team fight, obviously. They may have to defend for it, but they may have to defend with it. But now Teamless doesn't get Baron. We just saw in a great initiation by CLG, knowing that Graves wasn't alive yet and not going to be able to be in the team fight, they melted the enemy team. They did such a good job protecting COG. COG activated his Bio-Arcane Barrage and just went to town. Now that they have Baron in a 5-on-5 situation, this could be exactly what they need. Teamless, however, I don't think is quite going to go in there and try to win it at this point. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to play passive, let the Baron run out, and then go in for the team fight. They're pretty confident in their 5-on-5 team fight abilities when Baron is not on the table.
What a lot of it's going to come down to, though, is how well, like if they don't want to initiate a team fight here, how farmed is CLG going to get while Baron runs out? Because that's the problem you end up running into at this point, is they'll give up the advantage in items they've gained.
Oh, and there's a Shirelius trying to catch on this Mundo. They are able to twist it advance, and the knockup comes, but his healing is doing so much work. The Grievous Wound doesn't quite allow him to heal as much as he would have wanted to. So there's a pickup on CLG.Eu. That's going to be 4 assists, 1 kill. I think the kill actually went to Janna, which is slightly unfortunate, but yeah, you'll take it where you can get it.
Yeah, at this point, they just need to die.
Yeah, they just need to kill something. That's all they need. That's all they need. Now it's a 4-on-5 situation here. Let's see how they're able to defend. The stun comes out onto Vladimir underneath his own tower. Wicked is going to get Rune Prison. He's not quite going to go down. The Rune Prison is going to do a lot of damage. Locket of Iron Solari is going to mitigate a lot of that. Tarek does fall to the Renekton. The flash on Janna and the slow onto Vladimir with the exhaust. He is able to pull it, though. And there's a twisted advance over the wall onto Graves. The Orianna Ball not quite able to do enough damage to take out Graves or Rise, but she is going to pursue. She's going to try to get there. Her Dissonance giving her great speed. Let's see if she can catch up with this Graves. I don't quite think so. Rise going to pick off Janna in the meantime, just meeting a stranger in the jungle and paying for it. Not quite good for that Janna.
Yeah, that was unfortunate because that started off really, really well for them, and they just couldn't finish kills. And then Janna kind of getting caught sealed that. It just means there's really nothing good came of that. And it's going to give Teamless a chance to push. I don't know if they're going to take advantage of it. Everybody's kind of grouping up now.
Let's see what happens. It is that was a 2-for-1 exchange. Janna and Maokai are going to be resting in pieces right now. There's an open inhibitor bottom for Teamless to take. Mid inhib, top inhib, both dead. So CLG still got a little bit left on their Baron. I'd say maybe a minute more, 30 seconds to a minute more on their Baron, but it looks like they're just going to wait for it to run out. There's nothing. They can't quite engage in that amount of time, so they're just going to keep defending, keep picking off super minions, and just keep farming as much as possible. Let's see. And Teamless is going to, looks like they're going to meet up in this bot lane to try to take this open inhibitor. At this point, all Teamless has to do is siege bot lane. They have to stay down there, pressure it, keep pushing, keep knocking at the door. All the while, CLG has this choice. They either defend that bot inhibitor and they let other lanes push, or they stop other lanes from pushing and leave that bottom inhibitor. It's kind of like a Sophie's Choice thing. Which daughter do you want to kill? But they try to catch the Tarek. They don't quite do it there. But this is smart by Teamless. They're just going to sit down here and make CLG make the wrong decision. They're saying, what are you going to choose? What are you going to choose? You going to defend the inhib, or are you going to lose everything else? And it looks like CLG is going to go ahead and defend those inhibitors. Guardian Angel on Graves just spells such bad news for the entire team of CLG. Vladimir doing a great job of poking. The middle inhibitor will be back soon. Wicked decides to go in on there and stun the Vladimir. The Hemo Plague does come out. Wow, Mundo does a great job of trying to stick to that Kog'Maw, but Kog'Maw is forced to burn Flash with the Janna ultimate, able to create a lot of distance between him and the enemy team. Looks like 2 are going to go down for CLG. Kog is down, Maokai's down, Renekton got very, very low, and this looks like Teamless is going to be able to just take this in Game 1 of this Best of 3 series for the Reign of Gaming International Invitational. This Nexus will fall very, very short. If they focus it.
Yeah, and a very good game here. Good game from Teamless, good showing. They had a really, really good team comp, and they were really able to nerf Kog'Maw, which was the center of CLG's team comp. Very good for